Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Glasses. We have the March 19th, 2018 minutes of our work session. We've been kind of like handling all the minutes all at one shot, right? So therefore, do I have a motion on the March 19th work session, the non-public and regular meeting minutes?
So move.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Ayes have it. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. The regular meetings will be Monday, April 9th and April 23rd, 2018 at 6 p.m. Road bans for the town of Plymouth will be in effect from March 1st through May 1st, 2018. A list of roads can be located at the town hall on the town's website. All of the above meetings will be held in the town hall unless otherwise posted. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the town hall excuse me, before 12 p.m. the Friday before the Select Board meeting, the scheduled meeting. New members are needed to fill the zoning board. If interested, please submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Select Board's office at 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire, 03264. I have actually a comment regarding a recent letter that we received from Dr. Larry Spencer, of a former PSU professor. And Larry was responding to the intent of the university to move some collections that were located in, or that are currently located in the D&M building. And the D&M building is owned by PSU, and they have classes there and a lot of artwork. And it was, well, D&M building is a historic building in Plymouth, and the collections that are kept there are both historic, sports memorabilia and artifacts, and they include all sorts of gloves that were produced by the old D&M factory. And D&M used to be the largest employer in town, even more so than PSU. They had more people working out of D&M than PSU currently has. So it's a rather historic, notable building in town with a very notable historic collection that's currently housed there. And PSU, or at least the administration, wanted to move the collections to the Allwell Center in Holderness. And I think I agree with Dr. Spencer that moving, a very, important collection to the town of Plymouth to the Allwell Center in Holderness might be kind of diminishing that collection. So we wrote a letter to Dr. Burks, excuse me, and I'll read it, but it's the town of Plymouth received a copy of a letter dated February 21st, 2018 that was sent to your office from Dr. Larry Spencer regarding the historic collections of sports objects, artifacts, and pictures that are maintained at the equally historic Draper and Maynard building. In his letter, Dr. Spencer expressed his opinion that moving the collection to another location would essentially destroy the connection between the company and the growth of the town and the college. And he further stated that I do hope that you will prevent this from happening and put more effort into supporting the D&M collection in situ. Until receiving Dr. Spencer's letter, the town of Plymouth was unaware of PSU's plan to move the collections from D&M to another PSU building in Holderness. Since becoming aware, the town is equally concerned about disassociating the historic collections from the historic D&M building. They are both intertwined, and as Dr. Spencer stated, they represent an important linkage between the town and the university. And this relationship could suffer if the move is carried out. The town asks that you reconsider your intent to disassociate the historic collections from the historic building. At its March 26th meeting, the Plymouth Select Board approved a motion to ask, this is kind of premature, that you continue to maintain the historic collections of sports objects, artifacts, and pictures that are contained in the equally historic Draper and Maynard building. And I guess at this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept that letter. And
I move that we accept the letter to Dr. Burks regarding the historic artifacts being moved from Draper and Maynard building.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, well, let's sign that letter. So, next is correspondence, and we have a letter from Vanessa Talasazan. And I'll read this letter. Good afternoon, Kathy and Alex et al. It's was penned to Kathy Bentwood and Alex Ray, as well as copied to Jeff Lewis, J. Bradford Westgate, Rob Dapis or DePice, and Peter Keller, and it included, well, regardless. So afternoon, good afternoon, Kathy and Alex. We are still dealing with the unforeseen holdup on reviewing our main water and sewer plans from the Plymouth Water Department. We can't close on our construction loans or start construction without these two permits in hand. The town of Plymouth is even willing to issue a builder's permit ahead of these other permits to ensure that the project moves along, but unfortunately it doesn't help at this point. The aforementioned water sewer permits have been in the hands of the Plymouth Water Department since the end of February. They won't review them until all other water-related permits are also in hand, irrigation, sprinkler system, etc. This is completely outside the norm of any other water department in the state. These other plans typically follow after a builder's permit, main water and sewer are in hand, because they are done by subcontractors that the construction manager hires through formal bidding, etc. They are not relevant to the main water and sewer approvals in any meaningful way. Of note, this part of the bidding process has already been rushed, etc. Plymouth, for whatever reason, likes to have every permit request they will be asked to issue in hand at once before sending them out to be reviewed by a third-party consultant to reduce changes in the future. Less work on their end. But they unnecessarily delay projects as a result. And in our case, they could essentially kill the project. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to hear back from the water department, and then we will need to address changes requested and send them back out for a review again. Politically, we need to put pressure on the Board of Commissioners for just the main water and sewer permits to be reviewed now. We need a sky is falling type of push, because this is going to delay construction until mid to late June, which is 6 to 8 weeks later than anticipated. Because we have a drop dead date of May 9th, 2019 to put the project in use, or the HUD VASH voucher funds are expired, this needs to be addressed ASAP. HUD already stated that there will be more extensions granted, and we built in many months to our timeline to avoid this happening. We initially planned to close on April and our construction loans and start constructing in May, with a 10-month schedule bringing us to February, March 2019, leaving 2 to 3 months of buffer to address delays. The water department delay will push the construction timeline to the end of April at best, and that is too small a buffer to have between then and the drop dead date of May 9th. Again, we know that the town of Plymouth is on our side and will issue the builder's permit without these other permits in hand, but we physically can't start construction without the main water and sewer permits that the DES approval anyway. And more so, the funders won't close until this level of risk is mitigated. Can you help with this? I don't know what specific kind of political pressure is needed, but we are open to any ideas. I think the commissioners knew that they were causing a homeless veteran project to potentially not happen after years of effort and all funding in place, and everyone willing to be able to get this project done. They might bend their rules. Thoughts? I've copied others from our team so they can weigh in and answer more questions than I can. Everyone else, please feel free to correct me or add anything I missed. Thank you, Vanessa. So this project has been kind of floundering for some years now, and it's gone through a couple of different iterations. Initially it was a Soldier On project, had a lot of support, and now with this latest effort, it seems like it's in jeopardy. So I'll discuss this with there's a water and sewer district meeting tomorrow evening, and I'll bring this up for them to consider. But thank you. Any comments or?
No, I when you meet with them, just kind of emphasize that this has been a long overdue project, probably 4 or 5 years in the making, and Soldier On was held up and delayed and whatever happened there, but this needs to be done. I mean, our veterans served, and they need to have this facility, and we need to do everything that the water district and the town can do to get it done. And as a veteran, I stand behind it, so.
Well, we'll discuss it tomorrow night. Thank you, John. Next on the agenda, permit requests. Oriana Raymond is going to discuss the 5K walk and jog fundraiser on sidewalks in downtown Plymouth. Is Oriana here? Oriana, do you want to approach the microphone, or either stay at the dais or at a chair?
All right. Good evening. My name is Oriana Raymond. I am an interdisciplinary study student at Plymouth State University in my senior year, and I'm here to propose a capstone project to implement a 5K walk and jog off campus, and this would be going around the back roads so that it would be safer. It would be a safer way to go about doing the walk instead of having it right and directly interfering with traffic. So overall, this fundraiser is to promote and to develop the educational materials that would be sent over for this sub-Saharan African country, which is known as Niger. And this is a country that is one of the least developed countries in the world. They have a 19% literacy rate, and over 60% of the population is under the poverty line. And considering that this country is in a critical condition and needs external help, it is very sad to hear that a lot of people that I've asked have never even heard of the country. And so I was wondering if it would be possible to have the help of the select board in having this project and making it work on April 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be volunteers at the event, and that will be to help monitor the traffic control. And I've also contacted the athletic department at Plymouth State in order to find a way that we can have the registration area away from the sidewalk and actually at the athletic department, so that everything would all be in one place. And so overall, the project should be fairly straightforward, pretty simple, and I've also made an appointment with Katie Karen, who's at the Health and Safety's physical plants at Plymouth State, and we're going to go over the insurance policy and other safety precautions that are going to be needed in this event, such as insurance and a liability waiver. So if you guys have any questions.
Did you happen to fill out a form?
I do have a form here,
Okay.
yes.
And then it gets circulated to all the departments, and they kind of weigh in whether, how much support they actually need to expend. But that sounds great. And April 28th, huh? Any conflicts, or is that just,
April 20th.
20th.
oh, it's the 20th? Gotcha.
Yes.
Oh, that's too bad. No, I can't make it. Yeah, it sounds great. Any questions or
Yeah.
on the board?
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Okay. Should I present you guys with the form after the meeting, or? Would you like to
Yeah,
see
we
it?
can take it right now. Oh, got the police chief in back.
I met with her already. I
Yep.
believe the form's all filled out. I think most of the department heads or all the department heads have. I know I've signed it.
Okay.
So I think she's just really getting your approval for the.
Yeah,
event.
okay, gotcha. All right, great, we'll take the form.
Awesome. Yes, so I do have a meeting with the community planner and the fire department, and the fire department should be getting back to me tomorrow. If we can get signed for now.
So who at the fire department? Do you have the fire department to do, or?
Tom Morrison.
Okay, actually, the fire chief is in the back of the room. You might want to short circuit it and give it to him to review.
Wonderful.
Then it will come to us and we'll issue a permit for you. This is just the application.
So when does she come back?
She just drops it off after she gets the signatures.
Where is this event starting and finishing?
You said you had maps. Did you bring them?
So I have the house map, just have this is the proposal.
Sure.
See it? Do you need to go to Holderness too, or no? For the,
Do you have to get a permit from Holderness?
I want to look into that, because Holderness is on the other side of the river, where the athletic complex is, so you might need to look into that, but, yeah, I would talk with, PSU about that, because you might need a permit from Holderness as well.
Sure.
You know, so, because where the athletic complex is over here, it's in Holderness, and
Steve, do you have a comment on the Holderness?
Downtown.
I absolutely do.
Okay.
Because it's being held on university property. If this was solely on university property in Plymouth, they wouldn't need a permit. So I'm assuming it's the same in Holderness because they have the facilities to house that many people. The reason she needed the permit here is because she's using the roads and obstructing the traffic slightly for her event. So that's the only reason why she was required to have a permit in Plymouth.
Okay.
cool. Doesn't sound like you need one then.
You should be all set.
Thank you, Ariana.
Thank you.
Casino Clogston. Discussion of the ambulance billing.
Can you grab a chair?
Good evening.
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 Somebody to join me. Okay, the reason why we're here is I'd like permission to go ahead and sign a contract with the collection agency to retrieve some of the funds that are not, that we're not getting for the ambulance billing. Currently, and this is pretty much the way we've been for quite some time, is we collect on average 70% in the calendar year, which with the amount of calls that we do, that could equate to rounded figures $96,000. Now, there's a whole host of reasons why these bills are not being paid. And some of them, I don't want to plant the ideas in someone's heads on how they can get around on not paying a bill. So what we did is I talked to several other municipalities that have ambulance services and asked them if they're experiencing the same problems with outstanding balances and whatnot, and I've got a everybody said yes. And they've had some outstanding funds that have been sitting on the books for quite some time, that over time they've had to, per the rules and regulations, had to basically just write off. They didn't have to write it off all at once, but basically they had to catch up and make the auditors happy. So with that, it's like, okay, what have you guys done to curb this, you know, what is going on? And one of them is that they've signed contracts with a collection agency, and the one I would like to go with is the same one that everybody's using for a list of reasons. One, they're using, if we contract with them, they are representing the town of Plymouth Fire Department, and they will be contacting these people indicating that they're operating on behalf of the fire department, much like our billing agency. And the last thing I would really like to have is any company calling individuals up, either residents or non-residents, and getting the strong arm approach to getting these individuals to pay their bill or come forth to us and have a, you know, go through the paperwork, that if there's a hardship or there's a reason why, you know, the bill hasn't been paid or something like that, we can, you know, we have processes in place that if there's a real hardship, that we can forgive them, write it off, and that's essentially what's going to happen. And that process is myself, the town administrator, if it's in Plymouth, if it's in one of the other the towns that contract with us, we send that to their town administrator, that if they're sitting, you know, living in a multi-million-dollar home, they probably could afford to pay a $50 ambulance fee as well. So, like I said, the company that we want to go with is First Financial Resources, and they are, I believe they're a couple of the towns that are around us. They have nothing but good things to say about them. And what I found that they're collecting is about 70% of what is sent to them. There's always going to be a certain amount of write-off. And what they charge to do that is 30%. There are some other companies, like I said, that on face value, they appear to, you know, charge a little less. But reading through the documentation, it sounds to me like more than not, you're going to be paying the higher end of 33%. And the other two that we've reached out to and got some correspondence back on them, I couldn't find very many people around here that know of them, so I figured I'd go with a known company that has been working in the ambulance billing field. And the chiefs of those towns are very happy, and they haven't been getting like nasty hate mail saying that, you know, I can't pay my taxes because I had to pay your ambulance bill type deal. So this is just the way. There are ways of getting around it. It's not nice to do it that way. You know, most everybody has insurance companies, and some of the changes in the rules and regulations with Medicaid, Medicare, basically that's a fixed amount. But some of these individuals do have deductibles. So working with the billing company that we're now with, and we're seeing we saw a great improvement on how quick some of these things are turned around. But still, there's always, you know, either they've moved, they've given us a bad address, insurance have changed and whatnot, and they've done basically the company that sends out the bills, they have a set program that they go through to try to get all this information, and when they've exhausted all their means, that's when it comes back to us and says, okay, what do you want to do with this? And we'll go through it, and then we'll ship the ones that we deem need to go to collections, the ones that we possibly think that maybe the insurance companies have already paid but not paid us. So that's where we're at.
So
this, and just we did some rough numbers, and this could drop another projected right around $47,000 to $50,000 back into the town general fund, as opposed to potentially writing off $96,000 per year, which is about 70% of what we do.
all right, and in actuality, you have they keep 30% of what they collect.
Yes.
So
The
we're
collection
actually-
agency would keep, the one that I would like to go with keeps 30% of what they collect.
So we end up with like 50% of whatever, you know, good value that we can get out of the things we submit to them to collect.
Yeah.
That's par for the course, or
Yeah, that's what everybody's going
Some
with.
of them get a little bit more, but that's generally accepted stuff.
Okay.
So we need a motion to contract with this.
I've never done it, so I asked the question. I would prefer to have, you know, the approval to do this.
I think you had asked for all the numbers. The total amount due, I believe, is 637,000
What do you-
overall,
Overall
owed to
from-
ambulance right now.
From how long ago?
2000.
Well, what's outstanding? What's in the receivable? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What's in the receivables for unpaid ambulance bills at this point?
I guess, nobody told me that they wanted that number for tonight. I could have got it for you, but
I'm sorry, you were supposed to have been told. But when you had, that paper, that work that you had left when I came back from vacation, that was up to 637,000.
I was told 210, but
210 had,
Of the year.
had,
110,000 is from 2008 through 2014 Comstar,
right.
and we cannot collect those.
Right.
So that's where we gotta start first, I think, was your impression. And then, once that gets decided whether or not they're gonna write that off, and how much each year.
If it's beyond, like we discussed, if it went beyond the 3-year mark, we got to write it off. We can't do anything with it.
and that's what the selectmen were concerned about tonight, that we have $210,000 to write off the books.
Right.
Which goes against our revenue.
Right. But
To which I've had Ann contact the auditor, and I don't know if he's given a response. He did say, we're gonna be able to do it in 5 payments, so only 1/5 will hit this. It would have been devastating
Right.
to hit the year that we're in, that we're gonna finish in 3 months, because we would have been out $200,000 as a write-off. And that would have caused the taxes to go up 50 cents.
So that's a
So
good
it's
thing.
1/5, so
Yeah.
40,000.
So I think we kind of like point out too that, you know, should this happen again next year where we're also going to
Then
be.
it could be another 200. I don't,
Yeah. So,
if right now, we're doing what we can, and as soon as if I get the approval, we got a whole list to send off to the collection agency to try to collect that. You're never
that's
going to
why I
collect
had-
100%.
and that's why I had Casino working on that. Ann was handling how do we get out of the 210,000 that
Right,
was
without
gonna get
taking
written
out-
off
Yep.
in this fiscal year. Casino's been working on finding a way to collect the balance so that we're not looking at another 200 next year and another 200 the year after that.
Yeah. That'd be devastating.
How soon, we've got our billing company, how soon is the billing company shutting down their efforts and gonna turn it over to
There's
collection?
not a set time they go through the process. We see some bills when the process all gets handled. We see some that was a call that happened a month ago, and we see some that potentially happened almost a year ago when they finally exhausted all means. So, I mean, it's really hard. You know, it's not like a business where at the end of the year you can say, boom, there it is, because a lot of them are still in process, either back and forth with insurance companies or trying to find the individual, and they work with the hospital to get their information as well. Sometimes it's tied up in legal because someone's suing somebody else for a slip, trip, and fall.
Can the billing company give us, I mean, we're looking at the figure that I've heard, all total, including the 210, is around 637,000 that's due the town. Can we get an idea of what's, by year, what we've got outstanding out there?
I can go back to when we started billing,
Yeah.
but like I said, that all the process, it was supposed to have been getting written off at a certain time, and somehow that kind of fell by the wayside and was not getting done.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how I had no idea that they were taking everything that was billed out and using that as a receivable.
Oh, I mean, and that's the way it works. And I know, I work with a guy that's commissioner with Tilton and Northfield, and I mean, they write theirs off every year, whatever
Right.
is uncollectible, and if collection agency can get it,
Right.
then it's money back in. But you know, that's the accounting procedure. When we bill someone for taxes, that's an accounts receivable. If they don't pay, it stays there. And that's part of our revenue that we're anticipating. So until that receivable is written off, it's part of our revenue process. And
Yeah, like I said, we can get you the number, but from what the law has changed. It used to be 4 years, and now it's 3 years at the end of
Right,
what I'm told.
but we need to check and see if,
So that's the other thing that's going wrong. We went from 4 years that you could chase, and the state changed it down to 3 years.
yeah.
So that's why we're getting hit with,
Are
so
we
we've
gonna-
lost that $210,000 no matter what.
Yeah,
Right. And
Over
the-
a
and
5-year period, we're gonna lose
And the ones that we have ready to go as soon as, if I get the approval to do this,
are the next 200.
is the ones that is
Okay.
the farthest back and get them working on that. So we got a process in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
So on the,
Still have a yearly write-off that,
so 1/5, it doesn't matter where we take that 1/5 off on the 210, because it's all expired. Wow.
John?
So I'm here to ask for the board to sign, in order for me to take these off the books, I need your approval to do that. It's similar to an abatement in taxes. I'm looking to write off for this year, 2017-18, $42,000. And then I will come back to you each year, or someone will, asking you for additional write-offs until we get through that 210. Usually Paul, Kathy, or the board, I didn't realize that you could sign off.
I don't
Oh,
sign
you-
off.
okay.
I send the
Sign off
recommendations out,
on
and
these.
they, Paul used to sign them off.
So if you want to make, just tell me that that's what you want to do, and we'll have the board either sign a letter, or I'll give it to Kathy and Paul, and they'll sign. I just need something to protect myself from writing this off.
make,
Okay.
I'll sign the first one, and I'll give them the others, or,
Sure.
okay.
And so theoretically, if this company that we're maybe about to,
we need
sorry, Brian.
do we need a motion on that, Paul, to write it up?
That would be good.
All right, I make a motion, we sign off on writing off $42,000 worth of uncollected ambulance service bills.
Okay.
Second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 And going forward, I would like to still come before the board, because just learned over this past year how many people don't realize that we operate on money owed to this town.
Right.
It's revenues are revenues. And we start July 1st and don't start seeing money until December. So we operate on what's owed us every year. And all the way into the March meeting, we would run into people that didn't realize that when somebody gets abated $200,000, any particular property in town, that's gone, that's written off the books, and we've been living off of that for 3 or 4 years. We've got another big abatement from Tenny Mountain Corridor that's asking $3 million to be taken off their property. That's gonna be the equivalent of $88,000 in revenue lost a year. And you gotta realize if they go backwards 3 years, and you're talking almost $250,000.
That's great news, Paul, thank you. So do you need also a motion regarding that company, or or?
I just need somebody to say I got the authority to go ahead, and if you allow me to go with my first choice, then I'll make it happen, Paul. So I don't know if you need a motion, or...
Yeah, how about we just do a
I make a motion, we select, what is it,
First Financial Resources.
First Financial Resources to do the collection work for all ambulance billing.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Casino.
That'll be the first thing tomorrow morning. Have a good night.
You too, Casino.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chief.
You too. Is there any new or other business, or is that, I'm addressing that to Kathy, but no, okay. Any public comments? Nada. Oh, excuse me. How are committee reports? Any committee reports?
None at this time.
Nothing.
Nothing? Wow. Just a quick announcement, there's a Pemigewasset River Local Advisory Committee meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in the Lamson Library, Peace, downstairs. And there's also going to be a Plymouth Water and Sewer meeting tomorrow at 5:30 at their facility on North Main. And that's it for committees from me. So therefore, well, actually, before we go and to address some town business, we have a lot of guests in the audience. Is it perhaps like a civics class, and do you need something signed? Would you like to have that done now?
Oh, yeah, we also need an interview.
Ooh. We might be going into a non-public session, and we may be in that for, I don't know, 20 minutes, maybe?
If not longer.
If you want to sit around for 20 minutes after we go into non-public, we can address that, or we can do it some other time, maybe, or?
We can also arrange other times to, yeah, or by phone.
Okay.
You sit in that back room, Bill, maybe they could work on some homework if they brought you things.
That's right.
Or you can step up and I'll sign your papers and you can leave. And-
Well, we can at least sign your papers for those that, does everyone need like an interview?
We haven't done.
Can't you just fudge it? I mean, who's your civics teacher?
Mr. Kiley?
Of course. Why doesn't he just like invite a selectman into his class? And then we can address all the interviews in one shot, or two classes, whatever we do. No, maybe that's not, actually, I spoke with Mr. Kiley in the past, and he suggested something like that we'd have like, but since that's not happening yet,
Would you like us to wait? That's fine.
do you find that, okay, do you mind waiting while we go into a non-public session?
It's still early, Bill. They should be able to wait.
Yeah, okay. For those that wish to wait, please wait in the room across the hall. And for the others,
If they
maybe we can do it
can't
by
wait,
phone.
we can sign it.
Actually, Cardi, if they're gonna do it by phone, could they get a phone number, if you
Yep.
guys wouldn't mind?
I think you have my phone number anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so
We
Will
could,
you come over, Henry?
And for those that are gonna do it by phone, if we sign it right now, then you could take off.
I'm gonna get a signature right now. Should I have signed?
But anybody.
any one of us.
Henry, yeah, why don't you just walk over some,
Yeah, the project is due on Friday, so I don't know, like tomorrow or Wednesday, whatever. So I need to jump on my rate up and whatnot.
I'll be available tomorrow if somebody wants to.
Henry lives right around the corner from me,
Oh,
so.
all right.
Yeah.
Come by tonight.
Why don't I give you a call later? Yeah, are you free later, or?
Tonight?
Yeah.
All I have is homework. I don't think I have that much, so I might be free tonight, yeah.
Alright.
I can
Yeah.
give you my, yeah.
You ready to sign? Why don't you give me a call about 8? We can set something up, if not for tonight.
Sweet, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Joe, okay, so therefore, in accordance with RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, A through I, I'm requesting a motion to go into non-public.
Second?
I make a motion we go into.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, the second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, we're in non-public.